Hey, you guys, I just wanted to hop on here this morning to chit chat a little bit more about the power of your thoughts and your words. Because this goes hand in hand with last night's discussion on love. And I know that that probably was coming at you a little bit from out of nowhere, really, because what does that have to do with the dream boards? But in actuality, the subject matter of love and bringing love to the table, while sounding really sappy, actually has everything to do with the dream board, because it impacts the power of your thoughts and your words. And if you can direct those two things to a really high level of thinking and a high level of positivity, you will manifest that dream board a lot faster. So I wanted to chat with you a little bit about that. So first off, I'm going to base this information off of a book called Switch on the Brain by Caroline Leaf, Leaf. She has also written a secondary book since that first one, which I haven't read yet, but I'm sure I would recommend that one as well if I had read it. Caroline wrote this book from the viewpoint of a scientist. That's what she is. She studies the brain, and she also parallels the brain, her scientific research, with what she knows from the Bible and spirituality, which when I bought the book, I had no idea that's what she was even doing. I was just interested in learning, like, how does the brain work? But it made the book even that much more fascinating. It's one of my favorite all-time books, actually, because number one, it is life-changing when you understand the concept of the power of your thoughts and your words, and the fact that your brain is literally wired in a way that you can control it through those thoughts and words. So let me give you a quick example. One of the things that happens in your brain is we have synapses that connect and they come together and kind of fire off, right? They fire off your thoughts and your responses. That's the most important thing. It fires off your responses. So what happens is the more times you focus on something and think about it or breathe life into it through words, you bring those synapses closer and closer and closer together. And the closer they come together, the faster your reactionary or your response to those thoughts becomes, and the faster your response becomes available, the more wired you are to have the thought and the response. So I like to explain it to people kind of like a filing cabinet, where if you don't think of something, you have a long lost memory that you haven't thought about for a really long time, it kind of gets tucked in the back of your filing cabinet, right? Way, way, way back there. And it can actually be hard to even bring about the memory because it's so far back in the filing cabinet. But you have something else that you think about all the time. You wake up every single morning and you look in the mirror and you say, oh, I just hate my fine lines, or I hate my eyes, or whatever it is that you're saying to yourself. And you say it every single day, that memory gets pushed to the front of the filing cabinet. And in fact, it might have dozens of individual like-kind files that are packed into the front, and they are immediately available. You open up your file drawer, they are right there, and you can get a hold of them instantly, and the response to those files is instantaneous, and so forth. And the more you say those, whatever it is you're saying, or think those thoughts, it's like another additional piece of paper in that file folder, and it gets thicker and thicker and thicker, and it pushes back the other memories, the other thoughts, the other words, and the other feelings to the back of the line. And so whatever it is you're feeling when you wake up every day, and whatever is based on what you're constantly saying to yourself. And that will set the mood for your day. It will set the triggers that you have to how you respond to other people and how other people respond to you throughout the day in a way that you don't even realize it's happening, because it just becomes automated, essentially. And so there's a lot more to that book than that, but I have taught on that subject matter several times now because of everything in that book. That was my overall takeaway, how incredibly powerful that piece of information was to me, like, wow, every time I put myself down in any way, I am teaching my brain, oh, bring it to the forefront of your memory, of your mind, of your thoughts, so that whenever somebody says something to me, let's say I'm constantly saying I hate the way I look or what have you, and somebody says something like, oh, did you get your hair done differently? That might be that they love my hair, but I'm going to think to myself, oh, nice. There she is cutting on my hair. And I knew my hair didn't look good and I need to go do something with my hair. All this negative thoughts is going to be my response to what she's saying to me if I have been talking to myself in a negative way about the way I look in any way, or my hair, or what have you. Whereas if I woke up every day and I thanked God for the beauty that he gave me, not to say I am beautiful, like the most beautiful model in the world, but just saying to God, thank you for my beauty, or thank you for my ability to walk and breathe and function, whatever it is you're going to focus on. Then when somebody comes to you and says, did you do something different with your hair? Well, yes or no, either one. Doesn't really matter. Yes, I did. Do you love it? You know, you're going to assume the best of yourself, which is going to bring a smile to your face and vibrancy and high energy to the situation around you. And that goes for every single element of our life, because our brain is literally made up in that manner to function that way, scientifically and genetically and all those other good things. The way that God created us is that the power of our thoughts will direct every outcome of our day, how we show up to other people and how people perceive us, because our actions will be responsive to our thoughts and our words. Now, full swing back to the love subject from last night. This is why I talked about the love so much last night, because if you start to be very, very intentional about bringing love to mind, front and center to your mind, it can be a reminder to your thoughts and your words and your feelings about how you respond to something, how you see yourself, how you wake up in the morning, what you are saying to yourself all day long. If you first think to yourself, love, are you bringing love to yourself in your words and your thoughts? Are you bringing it to the situation? Are you bringing it to the person that you're talking to? Because if you say the word love in your mind, and better yet, the moment you say the word love, you allow yourself to feel what love is. And that's pretty easy. That comes natural to us as humans. You immediately kind of eradicate negativity, because you can't have love and negative thoughts in the same, they don't live in the same world. So if you're doing that intentionally, love, I'm bringing love, boom, it switches your thoughts, your words, your feelings, and it will switch the outcome of what you're about to present, either to yourself in self-talk or to the world and how you show up to other people. And that is going to have just insane ramifications on life in general, whether it be an outcome for plexus, it be just an overall general outcome of joy and peace in your life, which will change the way that you show up for everybody, right? I mean, it's just this ripple effect for yourself to manifest that dream board that you're working on so hard, because you can't have a negative outcome when you're coming from a place of positivity and love. Only the actions that will be created in your responses from your thoughts and your feelings, because you're focused on love, will only be positive. So how that works its way out, that's the part that you can't really predict. What that's going to look like. You can't say, well, today I'm going to show up with love and therefore 10 new level 1s are going to sign on, and by next week I'll be diamond. Like, you don't know how that path is going to look, but you can rest assured it will roll out in a beautiful way. And so if you recall on the video last night, I kind of said I was showing up like in the middle of a conversation when I was talking about love. This, I'm hoping, clarifies more of what maybe should have come before that, or brings a little bit more clarity to the love conversation of last night. But please, by all means, go get that book and read it for yourself. Really start to understand how powerful that is. And I am at the point now where I'm like, why the heck are we not teaching this from first grade on? Really, it's the basis and the foundation of us as humanity to create whatever it is we want in our lives. It's pretty powerful. I'll tell you a really quick story. I've been teaching my children this now since 2014. So I joined in 2013, and all of this started to come about pretty fast. And you guys are, well, Gwen's been in a couple years and she's already heard me ramble about this for a while. But like Maxine, even Maxine is aware of some of this because she's gone to Tony Robbins events. Lynn and Rachel, this might be a little bit new to you, but you're in your first year. You're going to hear more and more about this as you dive in and listen to training calls, and maybe some of this you've already heard. But that was my first year in the business. It started to click like, these people are talking about the power of positivity and positive thoughts and all that. Excuse me. And so I started teaching my children, and Nick was on the basketball court when we were living in North Carolina. And of my two children, Nick is by far the most challenged in controlling his mouth and his negative self-talk. It's really bad. It's gotten way, way better now, but there was a time frame it was really bad. And he got frustrated super easy. His dad does exactly the same thing. If something doesn't immediately go right, poof, they're off into negative la la land, worst case scenario, so on and so forth. So he's making these shots, trying for 3-pointers on the basketball court, just practicing. And he's getting angrier and angrier with every shot that's not going in the basket. And I said, Nicholas, you might as well put the basketball on the ground and walk away, because you're not going to make a shot. Because you cannot stand there and self-talk, this sucks, I suck, I can't make any of these shots, nothing's going in. And that's what he was doing over and over and over, right? I'm like, just stop. You're never going to make a shot. I can stand here till I'm blue in the face, and as long as you keep talking that way, it's not going to go in the basket. And he looks at me and he's like, oh, so I suppose you think that if I just stand here and say, I can make a shot, that the ball's really going to go in the basket? And I said, if you think it and feel it in your heart, and you take a second to really breathe that in, yes, I guarantee you the ball will go in the basket. And this 13-year-old child, he was like, cynical towards mom especially. And he's like, whatever. I'm like, do it. See if you can prove me wrong. He's like, fine. And he goes, I can make the shot. The ball's going into the basket, or something like that. He was repeating. And I'm like, okay, you got to really feel it in your heart, what you're thinking. You have to visualize so that it connects with your heart to feel it. And so I could tell he was like concentrating, right? And he goes, now watch this. Takes the shot, goes in the basket. And he just looked at me and he was like, whatever. But then, is like a whatever, like, holy crap, it worked. And of course now both of my children fully understand this, and they use self-talk and they use positivity all the time. And believe me, none of us are perfect at it. We have plenty of moments. But to understand this concept is so critical in trying to not make this journey more challenging than it needs to be. So that's it. I just wanted to share that with you. Again, that book is Switch on the Brain by Caroline Leaf. And I'm going to drop a video interview that was done between her and one of my favorite pastors from Elevation Church, which is located in North Carolina. So I watch all of his sermons via internet, but he did an interview with her, and sorry guys, and it was pretty good. Not as good as the book, but it was pretty good. So I'll drop that below here. All right, have a great day, you guys.